You. Welcome learners. In this video, as you know, we're going to look at you words. And the longer the video goes on, the more complicated and longer these words will become. And I'm going to show you how to pronounce some of those words as well. I'll also put the words in example sentences so you get more context about how you learn this U digraph. U digraph is usually made up of the letters E and W. E and W. Notice E has a big smile on it and the W has a U, okay? U. Start sliding your lips forward as we transition into the U sound. U. When you put the two together, the stretch becomes less in the lips. So this is your starting position in the lips, but your tongue is at the top of your mouth at the very back, and you should start to feel that now. You. Let's have a look at some words now that we know how to pronounce this digraph. New. When you buy something that you really want, we can say that it's new to you. This is a three-letter word, and I want to refer to this pronunciation a little later in this video. Can you spot another word that sounds exactly the same, that's spelt differently? If you can, well done. What type of word is this? You can comment below, or better still, you might want to go into this little playlist here where I talk about homonyms, homophones and homographs. And why don't you comment and tell me the answer? New and new. An interesting one that learners often have some difficulty with when they're learning English. The opposite of many, we have few. Few. I don't have many, but I do have a few, usually referring to countable nouns. I have a few books in my cupboard. I have a few gadgets in my bag. I have a few other things in my table, it's just down there. And I also have a few things to do before lunchtime. Lots of chores in the house. Usually I have a few chores to do. Do you have any chores? Comment below and let me know. I want to hear from you. And dew. What you see on the grass in the morning, dependent on the weather where you live. Where I'm from, we might see some dew, particularly in the spring and autumn months where the weather is generally cooling down or warming up. We start to see dew forming on the grass, usually the early hours of the morning or early in the evening hours. The dew gives the grass a nice sheen. It's very shiny, very white, and very pretty to look at when you see the dew. In weather and meteorology, you may also hear of dew point. Dew point. That's where the air is so full of moisture that shortly afterwards you're going to have rain, I imagine, when the dew point reaches a certain point in the temperature scale. Let's look at some four-letter words now, and to begin with we have crew. Crew. A ship usually has a crew on board. An aircraft usually has a flight crew. And you might also find a crew of waiting staff in a restaurant or in a fine dining establishment or in a fast food takeaway. The crew help to run whatever the business is or the service is. This is another one of those tricky words, and it's drew, D-R-E-W, and it can have multiple meanings, the same pronunciation. So, for example, watch this. Now, I'm not very good at drawing at the best of times, so I'm going to draw a little oval type shape, a couple of triangles. Let's put a little circle on there or two. I might put a little triangle there. Have you guessed what it is yet? That's right, it's a cat, little mouth, some whiskers, and I'm going to try and turn this ugly looking cat into a nice looking cat with the help of artificial intelligence. Here we go. Ta-da! Just like that, I have a pretty looking cat. What did you notice? Correct. I drew the cat. And another usage could be something like this. FC Barcelona drew against Real Madrid. So there we have an example of two teams scoring the same number of goals. For example, Leeds United drew Manchester United in the FA Cup. It means that both teams have been matched together, play each other at another date in the future. Drew has three different meanings there. There are probably more meanings. Maybe you could tell me more meanings about the word drew and comment them. Perhaps you've got more ideas. Grew. I planted a chili plant a few weeks ago and I grew it from seed up to the full plant. Now the chili plant produces lots of nice little red chilies and I grew them with great care, watering them every day and making sure they had just enough sunlight. Grew. So grew is the past tense of grow. We could take something from being very small and making it into its full size. Usually it can be plants, it can be food, it could be a whole range of things. I grew some tadpoles into frogs. Stew. A traditional English dish usually comprised of meat and vegetables that is slowly boiled for a long time till the meat's very well tenderized, usually in gravy. Might be found with carrots, onions, leeks and other vegetables that you can get in England, and you can have a nice stew. When we put something in our mouth and we eat it for a long time and take many bites, we could say chew. It could be a typical kind of candy or sweet, perhaps something like a Haribo or some other kind of candy that you keep in your mouth and you have to chew it many times in order to break it down so it's small enough so you can swallow it. Chew. You chew. And if I throw something in the past, we could say threw, as in T-H-R-E-W. Be careful with this word because it can sound like other words that are spelt completely differently and have completely different meanings. So I wonder if you know any examples. Again, if you know any examples, put them in the comments box. Put them in a sentence and tell me, tell your friends and tell the other learners in my channel about the examples that you know. I'd be really interested to hear, and I will also comment with replies and tell you whether you're correct or whether you need some further help. Let's have a look at some 5-letter words now with the U sound. Occasionally in my school we might send our students a new newsletter. Newsletter, and this is one of those compound nouns, two names of two different things, and we put them together. So we have news and letter. Put them together, we have newsletter. How about nephew? Nephew. My brother's son is my nephew. Nephew. And remember, learners, if you want to get a new job, you might have to go and attend an interview. Interview. And there you would have the prospective employer interviewing you for that position. Are you the correct candidate for the job in the interview? If you want to know about more pronunciation, there's a playlist here, and I've got another video here for you to watch. Learn more about English pronunciation. Tap there now and I'll see you over there.